But at some point, the math is the math. And I think we can do a better job using that information.
It reinforces my belief that I have the best constituents. Hello, Austin. Hello, Clawbackers. Hello, District 6. Here we are, episode 49. It is the weekend before Election Day. I know if you're watching this show, I'm sure if you're watching this show, you've already voted. But if you're waiting for the magical experience, you can still vote on Friday until 7 o'clock. But you also can vote on Tuesday the 3rd. We'll talk about voting at the end. But I want to get right to our amazing guests that we have today. Really a stunning lineup. Our musical guests are going to blow you away. We have the amazing Jen Ramos, who is the president of the Austin Young Dems. But my first guest, you all know and love him, a statesman and a leader of this whole region, the amazing, the incomparable Congressman Lloyd Doggett. Hello, Congressman.
What an introduction. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you're doing for our community, Councilman. You do great work for us.
Thank you, Congressman, and thanks for taking a moment out of your busy work saving America and saving democracy to join the show. First, I just want to check in. How are you and Libby doing? Is everybody healthy and safe?
Well, we're healthy and safe. I'm still working on technical difficulties here and trying to get into your program. But other than sort of the dark twilight here in the photo, we're doing great. I think everyone in our community suffers a little from virus fatigue. It's a term we hear out there, but we just have no choice but to continue, keep on keeping on. We've got to bring this virus to a halt. And so much of the pain and suffering some families are feeling and the discomfort and stress of being confined that everyone else is feeling is a result of Trump's denial, delay, and ongoing deception. So I think we just have to keep following the medical science and do what we can to protect lives. So much is at stake, and thanks for your leadership on the council on health matters as well as our general public safety.
Well, thank you, Congressman. We've worked very hard on the local level to devise the right set of programs for the federal dollars, and the challenge is that there aren't enough federal dollars. And
that's absolutely right. Of course, some of those federal dollars, as you know, were unfortunately sent to the state. And the state of Texas, Greg Abbott, as usual, is kind of keeping this, hoping he can find some way to use it to balance his own budget. That money was intended to get out to communities long before now. It was money that was approved back in the spring. And the other big holdup we have, as you well know, on May the 15th, we approved legislation for additional relief specifically aimed at the city, because I think that the cities across America have been the real leaders without any national leadership. We've relied on our local leaders like yourself, and we wanted to get the money there because you've used what money has flowed from Washington in creative ways to help small businesses, to help music venues, to help individuals on rent assistance. And I want to see more of that. I'm still hopeful that despite the obstacle the Trump administration and particularly Mitch McConnell over in the Senate have been to even, debating the legislation we proposed. And we came back in October and we did a little slimmed down bill and said, if you didn't like what you ignored in May, how about going with us on this? They still have been an obstacle. I'm hopeful after the defeat of some of these enablers who've allowed Trump to get away with so much next week, that we'll finally be able to move legislation in November, or certainly by December, and get some help out soon, not only to our local governments, but to the many individuals that have been counting on it, and to the parents who are hoping our schools can open, but open safely, and there's money in there for a safe school opening.
I talk frequently about the need for a at least minimally functional state and federal government. And with Republicans in charge in both of those locations, in the White House and at the governor's mansion, we've just not had the benefit of a minimally functional state and federal government. And the pandemic has really shown the brightest possible light on those failures. And we're also seeing that translate into the basic access to the vote. And we're seeing the GOP pull these same types of trickery on the vote. What are you seeing on that at the federal level?
Well, it's just absolutely incredible that across the country, we are seeing voter suppression instead of encouraging an outpouring of democracy. People like Greg Abbott really fear people voting, and I'm sure they are really fearful of the results of such a great turnout in both Williamson and Travis counties. Texas is really, ground central for voter suppression. I think we came out #1 on a voter suppression index that a university study recently showed. The idea that you can only vote at one place in each county to drop your vote by mail ballot, which is what people need to do now if they've not returned their vote by mail ballot. That's just incredible. And we've got Republican courts that have been backing up Republican vote suppressors. And so we've got to overcome that. And I must say, on a hopeful note, to see that 2/3 of Williamson County has already voted, and over half of Travis County, I think we're headed towards 60% probably this afternoon. As you know, you mentioned till 7, and that's the normal voting time, but there are 4 mega centers that happen to be open just today until 9 o'clock. So it's kind of a no excuse thing not to get out there and vote. And as you said at the beginning of the program, I expect most everyone who is listening and a regular participant in your great Clawback has already voted. So now the question is, who do you know in your family, in your neighborhood, in your workplace and class who probably hasn't voted yet? And can you call them? Because the personal calls and the personal contact really make a difference, and remind them, hey, you can still go until 9 o'clock tonight. And for those people that are really old fashioned and they insist they can only go on election day, what's your plan? Do you need help getting there? Are you going to try and go in midday when there might not be as long a line? And that their vote really does make a difference, because Texas is competitive this year. And there are so many local officials that are on the ballot. And of course, then, particularly as it relates to you, Councilman, and the other members of the council, this year, it is particularly important with this long ballot to go right through the end of the ballot. This is not just about voting down Donald Trump or voting on the Senate, or I hope everybody voting for Congress, but it's going right through that ballot to every school board member, every council member, every constable. And then it's also voting on these important propositions we have, because we will not be able to get to work and play and to our families by pavement alone. We've got to have an adequate public transportation system. And I know you've been an advocate for that. You've taken some hits from people that kind of look backward, but 183 will not serve all of our needs. We have to have a variety of transportation modes. Amazing that we could be trailing Dallas, Fort Worth, even Houston in terms of public transportation. And now with these propositions, we have an opportunity to finally move Austin where it should have been long ago in terms of providing diverse and comprehensive transportation.
Well, you heard the Congressman, Austin. It is absolutely critical to vote all the way down that ballot. We're all very passionate about the top of that ticket and the presidential race. And I know the folks that live in District 31 are passionate about Congressman Doggett. But you got to get all the way down to the bottom. There are critical school board races, obviously city council races. If you live in District 6, you got to find my name. But as the Congressman said, and I think is really important, you've got to talk to your friends and neighbors. You got to talk to your fellow PTA moms. You got to talk to your colleagues at work. Make sure everybody understands that their vote really does matter. It is so critical that people turn out. And I'm incredibly proud of Williamson County and Travis County. A little prouder of Williamson County because we're doing a little bit better than Travis County, I got to say, but still proud of everybody. And especially, Congressman, proud of you and thankful for your endorsement in my reelection and your help across our entire region.
Well, let me just close in saying that I think that's really important. Not my endorsement, but your service. We are fortunate to have you out there, not being afraid to speak your views, whatever they may be, and being very involved in this question of public safety. I've been so disgusted by all these ads. It's like a cookie cutter ad that every Republican has, that people want to defund the police and don't want to protect their neighborhoods. And we now know from Dan Patrick that this is the most dangerous place in America, but the data doesn't back it up. Totally fact-free environment. What we need is better and stronger community safety, and where everyone feels they're safe instead of being treated with injustice. And I appreciate the leadership you've shown on public safety and so many other issues. And I look forward to working with you after your victory this next week. If every last person who's listening will pick up a phone after this or a text and reach somebody who hasn't voted, and be sure to get them to come out and vote for Councilman Jaimee Flanagan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Congressman Doggett. Before I let you go, tell folks how they can best reach your office and as constituents for those who live in District 31.
Sure, and we really are eager to have it. And actually, I have District 35. 31 does cover all of Williamson County, that vote.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I really did foobar that, didn't I?
But you do have that up on the screen, I see now. But, Jimmy, I'm the only member of Congress who's ever represented a number with redistricting coming up. Who knows what we'll have after the next election. I hope, maybe I'll include some of your territory. But welcome contact from people in. Just go to doggett.house.gov and sign up for periodic updates we have, and let me know what your views are. I think that it's darkest before the dawn, and we're about to have the dawn of some really progressive opportunities. And I welcome hearing from everyone across Central Texas. How do you feel about where our highest priority should be as we begin with a new Congress and a new president and an old councilman named Jaimee Flanagan, who we're counting on here locally?
Well, thank you so much, Congressman. Thank you for spending your time with us today, and for your passionate defense of all of Central Texas and fighting for saving democracy in Washington. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
That was cool. Congressman Doggett is so amazing. I can't believe I got the district number wrong. Yes, District 31 is Williamson County, but frankly, everyone across Central Texas thinks of Congressman Doggett as their congressman. So, you know what? I'm not going to apologize for it. Let's go on to our musical guest. Holy cow, do we have a special treat for everybody today. And, of course, we have a returning musical guest, and so I want to bring her on first. Hello, BettySoo.
Hi there. Sorry for the chainsaws in the background.
I just assumed they were murder hornets. I mean, and I think that's the mood, right?
That's actually what's happening. I am braving the murder hornets just to be here with you.
That's amazing.
And you know what? They redistricted Congressman Doggett, and all this kind of garbage happened, so all those things changed. So don't feel bad about that.
It's true. You know what? We're all trying to make it together. We're all trying to survive this. Thanks for coming back on the show, because you were on a while back now. What have you been up to since the last time you were on the show?
Well, everything went back to normal and we all started touring. Oh, wait, no, that didn't happen. Like the rest of you, every day looks exactly the same for me. No, I'm still doing the live streams and, getting some recording done at home and trying to figure out, creative ways to collaborate with musicians since we can't really be in the same room. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're still working at it, and you have brought some guests, some friends, to join the show today.
Friends.
I'm very excited to bring them on.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Bonnie and Jaimee, welcome to the Clawback.
Thank you for having us.
Betty,
I'm sorry. We get to meet so many, really cool people with what we do, but I don't think I've ever been so felt like I was in the presence of such a rock star as being backstage while Lloyd Doggett was talking. That was amazing. It feels so awesome. I feel like just what you guys are doing, you guys are the rock stars. This is really cool. Thanks for bringing us in, Jimmy and Betty.
No, absolutely.
Well, we're really glad to have you on the show. Betty, why don't you let us know who your friends are here?
Okay, so behind me with this, or below with the spooky background, that is the awesome Jaimee Harris, one of our very best songwriter friends, and alongside her, Bonnie Whitmore, one of the most badass multi-instrumentalist. Oh, am I allowed to say badass? Well, I just said it twice. Singer-songwriters around, and they're two of my best friends and musical heroes of mine, even though we're pals. So I'm really excited to. Anytime I get to make music with these gals, I'm really happy. And
well, I'm really glad to have you all on the show.
Thanks. And we've all, I think all three of us have been doing things like, texting or making calls or writing postcards and volunteering at distanced live events to try to get the vote out and stuff. So that's also been really cool to be able to, have this community of people that we can text with and say like, oh my gosh, my hand is sore from postcards or whatever. And to know that there are people who are working alongside us in that whole thing.
Jaimee, Bonnie?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know Bonnie. I just felt like I exploded with I was just so excited when the second I got on the screen. I was just like, I can't believe. I feel like I'm just truly. You guys are the rock stars, so I'm just geeking out. But I'll try to be cool here. Yeah, I got an invitation. Shortly after John Lewis passed, I think a lot of people in the country felt this new sense of urgency, perhaps okay, it's one thing to be stuck in my house. It's another thing to be super aware of the fact that I feel stuck in my house. What can I really do to help, get out the vote and help mobilize people? And shortly after that, I got invited to be a part of an event for Envoys for Humanity, which they've been writing postcards for several months to encourage voters in Texas to register and to vote, and we wrote postcards to people that received voter registration packets but maybe didn't turn them in, and then we wrote for specific campaigns throughout Texas. And it felt not only really great to feel like I was participating in the process in a meaningful way, but like Betty said, during this time of isolation, to be connected with other people throughout the world who are passionate, or I guess the country, who are passionate about participating in this process.
I'm excited about going and playing some music this afternoon for our last day of early voting here in Texas. I was really, really excited to get that phone call, and I'm grateful to be able to participate in that way. Jaimee also introduced me to Envoys for Humanity as well, and of course I just said that, and I'm wondering, did I say that right? But I mean, I've just been trying to do whatever I can, either writing postcards or sending text messages, or just, I'm on so many different lists. So if there's something that I can do or rally some people, like I'm really good about just bringing this person to this situation and being a bridge. And so I've done that a lot as far as using my platform just to make sure that people know what they need to do. And a couple days ago, we knew that mailing it in wasn't going to be an option anymore. So I wanted to try to make sure that everybody had that information. That don't mail it in, drop it off. And thank you, Abbott and Patrick, for making it one location in our county. But I'm okay. It's fine. I'm okay.
Yeah, I feel like this close to the election, I think the reality that day by day as we get closer, we don't, we've known for weeks, for months, that we might not know what's going to happen on election day. But I think the closer it gets, the more that sinks in. Oh, right, we're no closer to knowing what's going to happen. So I think just trying to, communicate with people who we think might not have taken action to vote yet, and then also just sharing camaraderie with those who we know are like-minded or who are civically engaged, to know that no matter what happens, there is this vast community of people who are still going to stay engaged to keep our, local and national movements on the right track, and to still stand up for, the American democratic experiment, and to keep trying to give voice to the voiceless. I think that is all we can do right now, is just to, just try to keep hope alive. So, yeah.
We got to keep hope, and we got to keep voting.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. Bonnie?
The way it works.
It's also maintaining that, like, there's a lot of people that are voting for the first time. So it's just, it's always good to kind of make sure that people have their expectations, like, I think a lot of people are expecting to know who our president is by the end of election day. And that may not be possible just because of what we're going through and how many, like, places like Pennsylvania, where they can't start counting those votes until the day of. At least Texas, they start after early voting. But it's so interesting just to learn so much about different states. I was talking with my friend who's from Louisiana, and they have a few things that are up for grabs right now, especially with reproductive rights. So just wanting to try to help anybody that I know there to get that information and keep people informed. It's so important right now. So much good work to be done.
And I think, actually, to clarify, I think in Texas, for the mail-in votes, they can gather them and they can prepare them for tallying, but they can't actually tally them until that day. So they can kind of prepare them for, like, obviously early votes in person. They have some idea, and there's polls for that. But
I'm like, going off of Kathy.
But I mean, I just heard Dana DeBevois talk about how they're preparing the ballots for counting, but they can't actually count them until election day. But she says she's got a huge staff that's just ready to get all those Travis County votes counted on Tuesday, and they hope to have Travis County results by that night, but we'll see.
Well, as it has been in prior elections in Texas, at least, we will see the results of early vote after the last voter has voted on election day. And so we might see Williamson County votes coming back sooner, or we might see Travis County votes coming back sooner. That's always an interesting piece for those of us who have to straddle county lines, because then you get some very interesting reporting. But it's going to be a wild ride. And then some folks may be in a runoff. So there may be some elections that aren't even done on the 3rd, and we may be coming back to the polls in December, and we have to be ready for that too. But I want to hear what you guys have come prepared to perform. I'm very excited to have you all join together in song as our last show before the big election day. Betty, why don't you tell us what it is y'all are going to do, and then just take it away.
Yeah. So, well, this is going to be a little preview, because on election night, if you need a 90-minute escape from election day stress, then on any of the 3 of our Facebook or YouTube pages, you can take a 90-minute break on Tuesday night, 6:30 Central Time, and we're just going to do a stress-free zone concert. So, but we're going to do this little tribute to one of our musical heroes who passed away.
Some days are diamonds, some days are rocks, some doors are open, some roads are blocked.
Sorry. Sundowns are golden, then fade away. If I never do nothing, I'll get you back someday. 'Cause you got a heart so big that it could crush this town. I can't hold out forever, even walls fall down. And all around your island, there's a barricade, keeps out the danger, holds in the pain. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you cry. Half of me is ocean, and half of me is sky. But you got a heart so big it could crush this town, and I can't hold out forever, even walls fall down. Oh, and some things are over, and some things go on, and part of me is gone.
But you got the heart so big that it could crush this town. I can't hold out forever, even walls fall down. Baby, you got a heart so big that it could crush. I can't hold out forever, even walls fall down. Walls fall down.
Wow. That was amazing. And the first like triad performance in the history of the Clawback.
Yes, so honored.
That was absolutely amazing, and thank you all so much for your hard work, helping folks get to vote, showing up at the polls, and for sharing your musical talent here with us on the Clawback today. I'm so appreciative of it. Before y'all leave, let the folks know where they can learn more about your music or what your next live streams are or what you got going on. Jaimee, why don't you go first?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me anywhere, Jaimee, Jaimee Harris, just like Emmylou. I put out a music video today, which is a very Halloween-themed video, and then we'll all be playing a show tomorrow dressed as the Golden Girls. You'll have to tune in to figure out which one of us is our alter ego tomorrow. And then also for Election Day. So, but please follow us. Your face, yes, that is the reaction that we are all dreaming of. Thank you for
I am
your
a
enthusiasm.
huge... I don't want to surprise anyone that a gay guy would be a fan of the Golden Girls, but I am a huge Golden Girls stan, so holy cow.
Yeah, maybe
Kate,
we'll see you tomorrow.
just to answer you a little bit, Kate, picture it, Sicily, 1922.
Oh gosh.
That's amazing. Bonnie?
It's gonna be so much fun. That's all I can. That's Saturday. I mean, we just also want to be able to hang out, the three of us, and I do have to say that it's very entertaining when we all get to kind of bounce off of each other. But we've got the Tuesday show as well for election night, a little respite. I also host a show every Thursday as a virtual gallery, different guests every week. And next Thursday is Carolyn Wonderland is going to be my guest, so I'm excited about that. And you can find me if you just Google Bonnie Whitmore, Bonnie Whitmore. You'll find all of my things. I was lucky enough to get that name.
Awesome. And Betty?
Yeah, same. Our Halloween show tomorrow, our election night coverage or non-coverage, our stress-free zone concert on Tuesday, and then I have a weekly show on Tuesdays as well. So, yeah.
That's so awesome. Thank you all for joining the show and working through a really crazy, awesome set of technology to do this 3-part performance. And if you need a B. Arthur, just let me know. I've got B. Arthur in the back pocket. So for whatever your next Golden Girls show is, I'll share some 80s looks and some death stares across the screen.
I mean, we can send you the link, and if you show up tomorrow night, if you bring your A game,
just get your shoulder pads, okay?
We'll
Make
you
sure
the
you get those
spotlight.
shoulder pads on.
I know.
Yeah, you gotta do the shoulder pads. You got shoulder pads.
Yeah. And the
Thank you.
flowing tunic. Do it. We're ready.
All right, we'll put that on the list for the next time around. Thank you, Bonnie, Jaimee, BettySoo. Thank you all for sharing your time and your talent with us today. All righty. That was so cool. Gosh, three performers all at once. Pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and bring up our last guest. I am so glad that she's got some time to share with us today, and she does really awesome work all across Travis County and statewide and nationally in all the different roles that she does. The amazing and unbelievably hardworking Jen Ramos. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jimmy. Good to see you. I apologize. This is Roscoe, the Yellow Dog Democrat who insisted on sitting in my lap right this second, but glad to be with you.
Yes, dogs are welcome. This is Austin, after all.
Yes.
First, before we get into it, how have you been? How has your family? Has everybody been healthy and safe?
Yeah, everyone is healthy and safe. So my mom is a nurse, and so she's an essential worker. She is based in Laredo. And so we've been monitoring really closely since South Texas, the RGV, and El Paso have been hit really hard by the pandemic, but thankfully family is doing great. Everyone is doing well. I actually just came back from a really quick trip to South Texas with the Biden campaign. So we got some mariachis to go play out to the polls to encourage voters to turn out the vote.
How cool. That's awesome. And thanks for taking the work statewide. One of the most amazing stories, I think, about all of the historic turnout that we're seeing across the country, but especially in Texas, is the unprecedented youth vote. We're seeing kind of orders of magnitude over prior elections. And as president of the Austin Young Democrats, I am dying to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, so it has been very, very exciting, but I will say that Austin has actually been ahead of the curve early. So starting in 2018, the largest registered electorate in Travis County has been voters between the ages of 18 to 35. And that's in no small part to the volunteer deputy registrars, not only in Travis, but those who get cross-referenced into Williamson. So young people have been doing the work. We've been eager to get out the vote. And we actually saw the youth vote kind of offer that glimpse early when we had the March primaries. And so the March primaries, young people were turning out. But once the pandemic really hit and we saw the runoff, young people were the majority of the electorate that elected our runoff candidates. And so we knew that this wave was coming. It was just a matter of time before Texas started realizing that young people are going to make the difference. So Austin itself has the largest chapter of the Texas Young Democrats in the state. Houston is still really mad about that, but we are number one. The University Democrats are also one of the largest chapters across the state as a part of the College Dems, and we work hand in hand with our friends in Wilco. So I know that your district has some touch, and it's right there in that crest, but it comes down from just having that partnership and making sure that we work together to not only push our values and push our issues, but work towards a state that we believe in.
Yeah, District 6 is a special snowflake. We are half Williamson County, half Travis County, and there is also a Wilco Young Dems organization that's supporting me in my campaign, and it's a great group. But tell folks, what is it that the Austin Young Democrats does? What is the work of the group?
Yeah, so most of our work has been locally minded. So where most entities and most organizations work at the top of the ticket, so they're helping Joe Biden, they're helping MJ Hagar. Our focus has typically been very local and centralized. So a lot of the candidates that we support are candidates who are running for city council, candidates that are running for Congress, candidates that are really at the bottom of the ticket who don't get as much love as some of the bigger top names. And so what we do is we not only provide a space to educate young voters, but we also make a safe and friendly space for those who haven't been involved in the political process. One thing that we've seen, not just in Austin, but across the state, is that there are a lot of voters who kind of get into the political process later in life. And so we're one of the few states in the country that actually goes up to 40, and we consider Young Dems 40 and under. And so when you got elected, you were actually a Young Dem. And so
just barely.
Yeah, for a hot minute, we had 3 Young Dems on the Austin City Council, but to have the first LGBT man be a Young Dem was part of that momentum. And that's kind of what we do. We like to create the system that says, if you're coming in, welcome. We will offer you the education and the resources. So we'll teach you what the railroad commissioner does. Hint, it's nothing about railroads. We'll tell you about the importance of the Austin City Council and talking about the budget and healthcare and, trying to kind of make it more relatable for folks who just have no idea where to start.
I have really, I think we all are tired of watching our lives go by like a video game through a computer screen, but attending the Young Dems meetings was always so much fun and educational. And you guys really did bring in important speakers and interesting speakers. And I could be in that room and watch the heads nod and watch people learn in real time through the work of the Austin Young Dems. And of course, as you said, you all were very supportive in my race in 14 and in 16 when we won. And of course, this time around, having endorsed my campaign for re-election.
I mean, I couldn't see anybody we wouldn't endorse. I mean, I remember sitting next to you in 2016 and you gave me like this Arnold Schwarzenegger and you're like, I'll be back.
I don't give up. That's the thing. And as District 6 folks will tell you, I work harder than anybody else. And prior to the pandemic, I was showing up at all the meetings and going to all the events and hosting all the town halls. I talk about it a lot. We had 60 different town halls and community events and issue forums that I hosted in the district over the last 4 to 6 years. And we've been able to do such really important and fantastic work. And I'm honored to know that the Austin Young Democrats recognizes that, sees the hard work that we've done, District 6, even if I'm not personally a Young Democrat anymore. The gray hair, nobody believed it before anyway. But in technicality, I was a Young Dem when I started this job. And I mean, I was gray before I was a council member. I'd love to be able to blame this on that. That's not actually not actually how it worked. Jen, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us on the show today. I know you're going to be working hard, getting everybody out to vote in these last couple of days, getting everybody turned out on Tuesday. Do you have any parting words of encouragement for all of those young voters out there?
Absolutely. Don't give up. Always find a friend. There is always a friend that you don't think about reaching out to that hasn't voted. Don't leave any stone unturned. We really have the capacity to exceed our records. I mean, Travis County, I will say that we got there later than Williamson did, but we now surpassed our 2016 vote total. And we can keep it up and really break a record, because if we run up the score in Williamson, shout out to Kim Gilby and her team who are doing great work in Williamson. But if we can run up the score in Williamson and Travis, we can see a blue Texas. And it all comes down to hard work and having voter contact. Really, it's about having those difficult conversations with our friends. We can't take advantage of politics being a luxury anymore. Now it's really a fight to the finish. We've got, for lack of better words, we got to lip sync for our lives come Tuesday. And speaking of which, I'm just going to plug, we actually have a very exciting event today up in your neck of the woods, up in Pflugerville. We are going to be doing a youth outreach event with special guest Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
Oh, of Drag Race fame.
Yes, of Drag Race fame. She is a local Austin queen who is going to be helping us get out the vote. We are doing a youth outreach event with Black and brown voters specifically, so we are excited to have Cynthia out there. I am happy to send that to Jimmy and his team to be sure to let y'all know in case you want to swing by. It's going to be outdoors and socially distanced, so we are taking every precaution possible. But like I said, can't take anything for granted.
That's right. Well, and thanks, Jen, for spending some time on the show today. Thanks for all your hard work in Austin and across the state and across the country through all of the Texas and national Young Dem groups and organizations that you fight for. And let's get everybody turned out to vote.
Let's do it. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jen. Young Dems really does do some really good stuff. It was, everything was easier before the pandemic, and it's great to hear that they're continuing all of their hard work. Here we are, y'all. Here we are. We are just a few days away from Election Day. I'm gonna put on my last little slide here. This is the final point I want to make. Your vote matters. If you are still debating whether or not you're going to vote, if you are unsure about how to vote, if you don't know how to vote all the way down that ballot, the resources are there. It is absolutely critical that your voice be heard. We are truly fighting for democracy. We are fighting to preserve what makes this country great, what makes this city great, what makes this region great. And what makes it great is big voter turnout. When people have their vote, that's what makes American democracy work best. And we're not going to let those on the far right confuse us with misinformation or let big dollar donors and dark money PACs fund all these crazy attack ads and TV commercials. Nobody is going to be fooled by that, because ultimately everybody can do their research. Everybody can go all the way down that ballot and vote for the best candidates. And hopefully I have done enough work solving problems all across this district and across this city to have earned your vote to be reelected to the Austin City Council for District 6. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week on Friday, hopefully in celebration, and almost for sure in celebration if everybody goes out to vote. Get to those polls.